Thanks for coming, everyone. We've got head coach Allison Lawrence coming off a 2-1 weekend in North Dakota, one of the most difficult schedules in the country, but you're 3-6 going into the final non-conference weekend. Kind of your thoughts on last weekend and what you're looking forward to going down to Boise State.
Mm-hmm. It was a great weekend. Had some big breakthroughs, had some setbacks for sure, but I think competed really well and kind of found our groove. I think we found a little bit more rhythm in terms of our offensive rhythm and just feeling a little bit more comfortable just as ourselves. So it was a fun tournament. I think the win over New Mexico was one of my favorite matches that I've coached in. I'm not sure why. It's hard to pinpoint why, but it was just competitive, and it just felt like a big win that we needed on that particular day. So ended a little bit tough with North Dakota, but yeah, excited to take that tough feeling into this coming weekend and play another tough 3 teams and see what we can do.
Kind of the talking point last week was just the first 2 non-conference tournaments and just kind of the team growing. So This third one, 2 wins, just where'd you see maybe some of that growth and some of that improvement from those first 2 weekends? Yeah,
I think I saw us relax a little bit, and it's hard to point to on a stat sheet, but I think we competed just in all phases of our game with a lot more consistency. And so we definitely had moments of breakdown and were inconsistent in terms of error. Just we were high error in some moments is what I'm trying to say. But I really think mentally we were way more consistent and just played looser and freer from that. So I think it was just the feel of things, and we seemed more confident that at any point we could take over in a match or in a set. And so that felt really good. I think we kind of came into our own a little bit this weekend.
You just mentioned that New Mexico win. Just, when you look at it, why was that win so substantial? Because, you beat a Mountain West school in a neutral spot, but not at home. So it just seems like a win like that can kind of, set the tone for a season, even though you guys have been playing for a couple weeks now.
Yeah, I think that team's just, been doing really well, as all the teams are that we've been playing in preseason. So I think, we played Green Bay, and they had some roster things and some injury things that made it feel like we definitely should win that match. In New Mexico, we went into it feeling like it's anyone's match to win. And so I think just putting together repeat efforts back to back and getting the 2 in a row, but also New Mexico's a surging program in a way that felt like, okay, that's a team that's going to do really well in their conference, would do really well hypothetically in our conference. So it was I think it was kind of a milestone in that way for us to feel like we could be in that match and dominate it really.
You guys, again, going back to this weekend, it was your most successful season so far. Did you see a confidence boost in your team, and how so?
Yeah, I think anytime, you get a reward for, in a process, I think you see some confidence built. But, I think as a coach, no one watches our team more than Dana and I do. And I think you see these little subtleties in how they connect on the court, how they warm up, how they approach certain decisions. And again, you don't really see that as a fan or see that come through in a stat sheet, but to my eyes and our team's eyes, I think we really played like a different group this weekend, and I think proved that we're learning the lessons we need to learn to carry into conference. So it's hard to pinpoint and verbalize, but I think that feeling is there.
Looked like Paige really took advantage of that New Mexico match. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the way she's come along and was able to help you score a big win like that?
Yeah, I think anytime you have someone with a heavy arm like that, I think her kills sometimes feel like they count for multiple kills because she's got a cannon and she's a big intimidator, I think, for our opponents. And so she's a weapon in the front row and the back row. And, a big change for her has been playing all the way around 6 rotations. And so she looked more comfortable than ever in the back row this tournament, and scored some big points in the back row attacking wise. So I think that piece is huge, and it's been, she scores a lot of points for us, and she had some high error moments that I think when you're scoring points at that level, it's okay. But I think her range could improve a ton too. So I'm excited to see. I think we're just scratching the surface of her season, but yeah.
I think you said last week that you saw these three teams as sort of peers respective to their conferences as your team is in the Big Sky.
Yeah.
How do you feel like this is a confidence boost going against teams that you feel are like opponents and, going to 5 with one team and beating the other 2?
Yeah, I think it's huge. And it's what we've been talking about for a year, basically. I think scheduling is the whole point of this schedule this particular year was to play time and time again teams that we feel would be where we want to be in our conference. And so I think to feel like, yes, I mean, Pitt is kind of the outlier there, BYU the outlier, but to feel like every week we're getting more and more comfortable against top third level of competition in our conference, I think just allows us to relax into, okay, that's where we're at. And so that identity piece is really crucial to what we're doing. And I'm proud of them because it takes some pain to get there, for sure.
Another player that was interesting, who she was in the top 3 in kills in both of your wins against Green Bay and New Mexico, Maddie Shalantsev, who was, of course, like you've mentioned before, and last year was coming off of an injury. How big has she been, and not only adjusting to be going from injured to healthy, but also being a pretty big contributor, especially in this tournament and the 2 wins?
Yeah, no, I think Maddie's huge. And I think to have sat out, she had a COVID year, and then 2 years plagued with injuries and recovery from a knee injury in the end of the COVID season. I just think, I don't know, she's been not able to play for so long. So now that she is playing, I think she plays with a level of gratitude and just a level of urgency of like, I haven't been able to do what I love for so long. And I think that's pretty infectious. And she plays like a senior and is a freshman eligibility wise, which is a really cool combo and one you don't get very often. So she has the wisdom of someone who's played a lot of years, but also just hasn't played a ton on the court in real time. And so I think you see some moments where she doesn't trust what she knows, but she knows a lot more than most people on the court in that sense. And I think the way she attacked rehab and the way she's attacked her injury, time battling injury, she has come back jumping higher, is so strong. I mean, she's so physical, and every coach we play against comments on her and how well she's playing. So she's big time.
And I guess a game from that tournament where she wasn't in the top 3 kills, but that 5-set game against North Dakota, that was a team that you beat last year here in Missoula. I guess what were some of the things that you saw that maybe your team could look forward to, I guess, fixing going into this next tournament where you're going to Boise? Because that seemed like a game that seemed pretty emotional, and especially that 5th set where you go 18-16. So I guess what are you feeling about that game and the development of your team going into this next non-conference tournament?
Yeah, I think the biggest things are errors. And you never want to create a culture where you're afraid to take risks or you don't want to go for it. So, we definitely don't want to be afraid of making errors. But if you look at the points in the match that really got away from us, it's just strings of, in my mind, unforced errors. It's one thing if a team is kind of serving you off the court. And UND had some tough servers, but I think, I don't know, the way we were moving and the way we were contacting the ball, to me it was mental, either fatigue or mental error, just a lack of focus on some fundamental things with passing. So my biggest thing going into this next weekend is, can we pass with resilience and have less breakdowns? I think when we pass well, we got a lot of weapons and we're pretty physical offensively. So that I think that'll be my biggest thing I'm looking for.
Pretty big news for you, Allison, last week with the extension getting announced for your contract. So just this journey that you've had as the head coach at University of Montana, obviously there was that abridged season during COVID, and that didn't go very well. But then last year, all the successes to now this reward with the extension. Just, I guess what does that mean to you, and just kind of seeing how this program has grown over the years and just kind of sticking with that and making things work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really hard, and it's been one of the, maybe the biggest, definitely in my professional career, but in my life, like one of the coolest adventures and challenges I've ever had. And so, the contract extension is, it's more symbolic to me. Sorry, there's a fly here. About just, I don't know, everything we've accomplished over the 7 years. And I think, in the article that Jackson wrote, all I've wanted is for this place to be healthy, and I think, and for the athletes that give so much of their time and energy and heart and soul into this place, for them to be rewarded for how much they do. And that doesn't mean rewarded in wins. I mean, yes, winning's fun and winning's a part of it, but rewarded in that they are in a healthy environment that gives them tools to take out into their life. And so that's been the biggest goal for me, is to get it to that place. I think we've done that, and not without challenges and obstacles, and not without a lot of ups and downs. But I think the people behind closed doors, the athletes and the coaches that were a part of that process, it can't really put words to it. So it's huge, and it's been an honor, and we want to keep it going.
Kyle kind of stole my question. No, it's okay. But now that you're extended, and as you go into this next weekend, like last week, you kind of said these are like 3 like teams. As you look ahead to South Dakota State, Marymount, and Boise State, how do you view those teams and the challenge they present as you end non-conference play?
Yeah, I think this is a really hard tournament. Boise's, really good. I think they've had some injuries in the preseason, so I'm not sure what their lineup will look like. I think they've beaten some really good teams, and then they've lost some games that I didn't think they would, just I think from injury. So we'll see kind of where they're at. And LMU is getting nods for some top 25 rankings, and so they're going to be really good. And I think South Dakota State, we played them last year or the year before. I can't remember, but they graduated a couple athletes, that one of which they said a lot. And so I think their distribution and just their roster looks a little different. So I think they're a little newer. But I think, again, really exciting opportunity, because I think these teams would be at the top of our conference. So here we go again. I can't wait. Thank you. Sorry, the fly was right in